Hey, Wellspring, coming back at you, Pastor Tommy here, to give you hopefully an encouraging devotion on what it looks like to live in a divisive culture. If anything we've learned from this year, it is that we are divisive people. We are people that aren't just different. We just don't see things differently, but it's almost like we're completely separate. And I imagine if you're like me, and imagine many of you that are watching this video have found that people who you thought you agreed with, or thought who were with you, or thought where you thought similar ways about topics, you didn't. Whether it's racial injustice and the response to that, whether it's COVID, mask or no mask, distance or no distance, back to save the economy or stay at home, or whatever it is, whether it's politics, it really has been revealed our divisiveness. And I would say is that for an encouragement, I hope this is encouragement for you, but that divisiveness has already always been there. It's never not been there. I just think the three things that we've experienced this year: a pandemic, racial injustice, and a political climate that is very toxic, has all brought our divisiveness to the surface. So the question is, how do I live in that? How do I survive in that? How does that not overcome me, both in the way that I treat people or I feel like I'm being treated? I know that the sound of my voice in this video and in our community at Wellspring, we have people from many different backgrounds, many different races. My black and brown brothers and sisters experience life much differently than I experience life as a white man. So I don't want to sit there and give you a sort of a bomb or just this tonic that's one size fits all. But I know one thing, and I know that is we're called to love. So I just want to share with you a couple things that I think that you may be able to provide in a few instances in your life. Again, we all are experiencing these things and many other issues differently. So I want to talk about a few things from a book I read many years ago that was helpful on bringing in dialogue. The one thing I think we really struggle with, and it's been revealed for those three things I was talking about: COVID, racism, and the political climate, is that dialogue, the art of dialogue, has been lost. So divisiveness is just easy to go to one side or the other because there's no nuance. Nuance is hard. Living in nuance and trying to hold several things in balance, try to hold several maybe different thoughts or opinions or even facts in balance, is hard. It's easier to go to one side and then call names to the other side, isn't it? We all do it. We've been doing it since the garden. We've been calling names. We've been divisive. We've all been hurt, and we've all been perpetrators, and we've all been victims. Again, all of us have been perpetrators and victims at different levels. So I want to help us is to, as we dialogue, if you choose to go into a dialogue with someone over a divisive issue, what I would caution you with is walk in with a level of self awareness that you're here to listen, learn, and love. That you're here to listen, learn, and love. If you go in with that mindset, not to change minds, not to refocus someone, or not to take a position that, oh, they're not going to change my mind, but go into the position of listening and learning. And here's one thing I would say. Here's somewhat of a, if there is a magic tonic I could give you, here's the thing you can respond to. This is what our Lord Jesus did. He might have said it this way, but as we study through Luke together, Jesus rarely answers a question. Usually he answers a question with a question. So let's just follow his lead. Follow his lead on that. And so when someone says something to you that is maybe offensive or may seem so out of whack or conspiracy theory driven or definitely taken from one side and not considering any other position on that topic, say this: really? That's it. Say that. Really? And ask the follow up question: where did you come about your understanding of that information? Because we live in a lazy society. We don't want to think and have nuance. We want quick answers. And ever since I've been thinking about this and moving through this, the advent of social media 7, 8, 10 years ago is that it is just so easy to get quick information that may not be reliable. So now everyone has their own facts. If it's anything we've seen revealed in this year, is that everyone has their own facts that feeds their own echo chamber. So I would caution you, but also encourage you, if you're going to engage someone in a divisive topic, stay in a position of listening, learning, and loving that person. Don't go into change the mind. See if you can challenge in a loving way by asking the question, really, how did you come about that? And then see if there's a dialogue there. See if there's a position of dialogue. There may be some times where you have to say, whoa, what you just said was crazy. We need to talk about this. There's going to be times where you need to receive information and understand that there, no amount of argument, no amount of comment, no amount of great information that you might give them is going to change their position. Rather than, can you have a dialogue and build a dialogue with them? Now, for some of us hearing this and watching this, you're like, there's no way I can go too far with some people. The hurt is just too bad. What they said is too, I understand this. So there might be a time when you need to pull back. Pulling back from friendships, pulling back from loved ones may be a wise thing for you to do. But what I would encourage you, if you dialogue with people, is ask that question. Really? How did you come about that understanding? Or how did you come to that conclusion? And then love well. Try to love as you will. That doesn't mean you take all the punches. That doesn't mean you get abused on and picked on. But what it might mean is that you don't have to win every argument. You don't have to win any argument. But love well, encourage, and finally, and this is where some of this might hurt, point people back to Jesus. Whatever the person's position is, if they're claiming to be a Christian, point them to Jesus. If they're not a Christian, point them to Jesus. Point them to Jesus, because no broken system, whether it be politics, fixing racism, fixing a pandemic, or thriving or coming out of a pandemic, is going to fix our ultimate need, that's in Jesus. So use these divisive topics to point people to Jesus, not to a man, not to an organization, but to Jesus. So I hope that encourages you as you think about, as you go about your day. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're safe and that you enjoy the family that's around you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.